we have even more stuff happening today, but don't worry about it from the perspective of the Cowboys because, again, they were silent. Obviously, we learned that Trent Sieg, if I remember correctly.
S-I-E.
The long snapper for your Dallas Cowboys was retained. And so technically they did something. I imagine there's a lot of people under the sound of my voice for whom eye rolls just happened because that means absolutely nothing to them.
I think it's funny that they waited till day 2 to do that as well. That's something that could have been done.
Yeah, we can't get this done on day 1. That's when you absolutely have to wait. You have to let the long snapper gauge his market in the place and allow him to then come back to the table and get something. No, obviously, these were not things that move any level of a needle, although I'm happy for Mr. Sieg and his ability to get his level of pay, right? That's always where I'm at. But with that being the case, I think that you and obviously others on the station have kind of pointed to the ways in which, one, clearly this does not fit. It's kind of the all-in narrative that we believed was possible, or the ideas of what all-in would look like after Jerry Jones used that particular phrasing, right? One. But two, like, this doesn't even feel like the typical MO of the Cowboys, even when they are doing nothing in this time period. I understand, right, the idea that, look, man, they already told us, they let us know through media that, hey, this running back situation, we are not going to throw money at it, right? That seemed very evident from Michael Gelkin's reporting. They also went to the place where they let us know as well that they had not talked to very many free agents. So that should have been a level of indicator as well. And then also the idea is that, hey, you look at their salary cap and they have not done the necessary moves to get themselves money to be able to sign people into, right, once the league year turns over. So all those things happened. They did the moves to get themselves under the salary cap, which was necessary, but they didn't create space to be able to do these things, and they haven't done the necessary, adjustments to get them there. Also, they have not taken care of, like, obviously they didn't take care of any of the players that ultimately end up leaving, right, through free agency, but they didn't take care of any of the guys that we've talked about that they are probably going to extend. And that raises the question, are they kind of, what is it, quiet quitting? Like, is this a silent reboot or retool or whatever word you would like to use? And is that something that you should be happy about, Blake?
Yeah, so I don't know yet if it's a silent rebuild, but it is trending towards, in my opinion.
Let's lay out the case then.
Yeah.
If that's because, I mean, I already mentioned they didn't do the thing where we like our own and so we will re-sign our own in free agency. It seems like all of those guys, for the most part, you're talking about Dorrance Armstrong, Tony Pollard. Today we learned that Dexter Fowler also trailing a large caravan of Cowboys players
took one flight
to the Commandos. Yeah, right. And then you look at some of the other like potential issues. Obviously, Tyler Biotish goes as well there, right? Like you have all of those guys go. But then also the thing that I was on the phone with a friend of mine earlier today and talking through this is, hey man, at this point, like, why have they not gotten done CeeDee Lamb or Micah Parsons on, like, for the future?
Yeah, it's like pick one or the other. Either extend your guys or extend your guys to free up more cap to go get these big name free agents. The whole all in thing is just not matching.
Yeah, now, and at this point, it's very clear. Like we've killed all in 7 different ways.
But see, me, I'm okay with that. I was not when the comments were first made right after the playoff game or whatever it was, a week or two after. I came on here and was just like, I don't want them to be all in. One, I didn't believe it.
Sure,
but two, I was
not
just
very
like,
many people did.
But two, I was just like, why do that? You're kind of just prolonging your eventual death, in my opinion. Like, I think that we're kind of trending towards why would you extend Dak and push more money down to free up money if you're not going to sign anybody? And since they've shown that money that they would use to free him up, most of those guys are gone. Not all. Most of those guys are gone. Yeah. So why would you free up money and extend Dak and push his money down the road? It's looking like they might just ride this year out. Like, as crazy as it was, and we're like, this would never happen. They're extending them. They're going to get these guys, this guys, even if it's guys in the middle of the road. Those middle of the road guys are going out. It's about to be day 3. Day 2 is almost over with free agency, and they haven't made any moves. So I think it is trending towards a silent rebuild. They're like, hey, we got an aging left tackle. He was great and all, but he's more expensive than we're willing to do. Our center, we need an upgrade. And we saw this, 2010, 2011, when they got Travis Frederick, Zach Martin, Tyron, like the likes of those guys, and kind of retool the offensive line when they felt that their quarterback wasn't enough, or their quarterback wasn't doing enough, where they had to surround them with different pieces. And I think that the best thing they could do is a silent rebuild and this whole pushing money down the line and kind of just hoping isn't looking like something they want to do.
Now, I mean, look, there's still the thing where their MO typically brings them back around to the free agency table after a lot of the big fish have gone now, pecking around at whatever remains. But yeah, I think that's what you've talked about with Dak Prescott and with the ways in which his $59 million salary cap hit, like restructuring that or figuring out an extension that then allows that money to go forward. The question then you ask is like, for what? And in some ways, maybe you go, all right, in order to get your draft class in. But then that brings me to the draft class where, again, we've talked about the ways in which you have holes at a lot of different places. Running back is probably is a place where you probably need to address.
You
center,
have one on the roster.
Maybe you feel good about center in some level of way where Brock Hoffman comes up. I'll give you that. And even that is me giving it you, right? Like, I'm not certain. I do think that Brock Hoffman maybe has the possibility to be really good, especially when we're talking about like trying to contend. I'm not certain. Okay. Tackle, Tyron Smith, I guess not signed anywhere else yet, but as of right now,
not on your roster either.
Still need to address that. Linebacker. You need to address that. And I mean, I think we've all been operating as though Leighton Vander Esch will let us know that he will retire. That seemed to be all of the kind of the way that the conversation has gone. What linebackers do you have? You need to address that. You still need another cornerback that you probably need to start, right? Like there's defensive tackle is not one I mentioned. And you can't address all of that in the draft. And so the question that I had, in addition to that, right, this idea of the soft reboot or retool. Hey man, you have a lot of coaches and a lot of people on basically a 1-year deal. What exactly are they expecting to happen here?
Yeah, I don't know what you're expecting to do. You're putting so much pressure on Will McClay in the draft to nail every single one of your first 4 round, they don't even have a 4th-round pick. First 3 rounds to be all starters. You need a starting left tackle, you need a starting center, and you need a starting linebacker. And even if you nail all 3 of those, you still don't have a running back. You still don't have another linebacker. You still don't have a defensive tackle that's serviceable. Still don't have another corner. Like, they have too many needs to be playing safe in free agency if they're talking about competing this year. Now, if they do not want to, cool. I'm in the same boat. But if you want to compete this year, there is no reason that you have done 0 in free agency, like you were some team that has 1 or 2 holes and you just, we'll just get 1 or 2 players. And you have literal, not even just upgrade, where there's not a player there, where there is literally not a player at that position. Not even just, we just want to upgrade and get a little bit better. No.
Yeah, and this is the thing that I don't get ultimately, right? Because again, right, this is all our speculation based on what we are seeing them do in the offseason, right? The actual actions of this. Let's say that they are undertaking some level of soft retool, right? There's people on truckwreck.com text line. They're like, look, man, just allow the Dak Prescott thing to run out. Take the cap hit, and then let him walk and figure that out. All right, you are getting closer and closer to the idea of maybe that happening. Because if you're Dak Prescott, if you get to April, what is the point of you then doing the extension?
I'll take
get
it,
to free agency and go.
I'll be Kirk Cousins next year.
Like free agent quarterbacks don't happen often, and people will line up for the opportunity to pay you, right? Yep. Like, I don't know what the incentive would be for him, and for the Cowboys, the incentive time, as you've already laid out, it's kind of moved, right? The window is already moved because you're not opening up money for free agency. Those guys have largely been paid, right? But if you are indeed undertaking some level of reboot, understanding, all right, this is not a year that we're actually going for it, even though that's in direct contradiction with what was said, right? Okay. Why would you not sell that? Like, for an organization that does a lot of selling, like people we have seen in the NFL in particular, but in sports in general, apparently we have reached a time in sports where a fan base is willing to rock with you through a rebuild.
Trust the process was a full thing for the Philadelphia 76ers.
And buddy, that drove my blood pressure up. But you know what? People rocked with them through them lighting years on fire. And you've got a fan base that's like, look, what you were doing doesn't work. I want to see something different. And then they basically double down on the rhetoric of, no, we think we can be good. You see the 36 wins in the last 3 years and all those things. And what I don't get is, if you do go on this way where you're like, actually on the sneak, on the low, we're trying to not really.
Like, how does that help?
If you're doing that, let everybody know. People would actually give you a lot more credit for that.
I bet they would. They'd be like, all right, this is a change of guard. We're going to do this. Maybe let's look at the draft, free agency. They're like, we're looking internally like you are going to make a big move for a Derrick Henry or a Patrick Queen or any of these big free agents that you didn't even. $4 million for Zach Moss was a cutoff for them. Just too much money. Any defensive tackle out there, you can think, just too much money. So why are you selling all in? No one came up to Jerry and said, we need you to make a comment about going all in from us. I don't understand why that was provoked out of him just to do the complete opposite. I don't know what they expect this year, Reggie. I don't know if they expect to go have 2 wins this year, have 12 wins. I think most Cowboys fans are looking in the direction of why have 12 wins again? What is that going to do for us? That's just going to give Jerry more confidence that he can do the same thing he did last year and do it again next year. And fans are going to keep buying stuff, going to stuff, and pouring money into this organization. I think fans are kind of ready for a rebuild. And let me know if I'm wrong. 877-881-1053. Let me know if I'm wrong. Let me know if I'm wrong. If you do not want to retool, if you want to have 12 wins and be able to quote unquote compete but lose early in the first round, or if you want to see a complete tear down of some of these players and contracts.
Yeah, because I do think that, like, as much as it's frustrating, it's annoying to hear, there is something to be said for, hey, you continue to put yourself in that tournament, you give yourself opportunities to win it. I understand all of the things that then come on the back end of that is like you have not seen it over a number of times there being there, right? The quarterback, do you believe in his capability? The coaching, do you believe in their capabilities? All those things still exist. But it does not seem like they are giving themselves the opportunity to put their best foot forward. And with that being the case, they also don't seem to, like, at least vocally be going the other way where they put themselves in an opportunity to, hey, we're going to take a year off or whatever, however you want to call it, right? Whatever framework you want to put on there to get themselves back into a better place to then compete in the future. And so what it feels like is with this kind of failure to at least forward facingly plan, it feels like they're going to end up in this place of mediocrity.
Yeah.
Of just like not even the mediocrity that Cowboys fans talk about, where you're actually a somewhat level of good, you just don't live up to the expectations on the back end. Yeah. No, just pure mediocrity, right? Because as it's currently situated, you still have some really good players, but
like New Orleans Saints,
buddy,
Tampa Bay Buccaneers,
buddy, right? Like that situation, and that is going to be the most frustrating thing is if you do find yourself in that place because you
still got players, you
did not decide fully where you wanted to go. And I have been perplexed. And I know there's a lot of people that basically saw it future, I'm looking forward, like this is where it was going to end up. But I for myself in this job that we have, all right, let's work through all the possibilities. What could happen? But as we're seeing more of those possibilities fall by the wayside for what is happening, what is happening is wild perplexing.
I mean, we tried. We threw out everything, all these free agents you can get, the way you can salvage this. We were talking about the draft and kind of retool your team. Do this with Dak's contract. And I think plenty of people in media, plenty of people that talk, some love Dak, some do not, but we were still given options. Hey, if you love Dak so much and he's so great, do this with his contract. You'll have this much money to go get a running back help and linebacker help and defensive tackle and alleviate some pressure on the offense. But they've done nothing. So I don't really know what they are looking forward to build on. The only thing that I can see is that they just let Dak's contract ride out and they retool the offensive line and kind of do what they did back in 2010, 2011, and be like, we're going to have a dominant offensive line. We're going to get one of these really good running backs in the draft and build what we had back in the day, a couple years ago. But this whole prolonging Dak's contract doesn't make any sense, in my opinion, if you're not going to get pieces around him. Unless you truly think we can run back the exact same team we had last year, minus Tony Pollard.
It's not even that.
Minus Dorrance Armstrong. Minus Tyron Smith and Biotish. Minus Deontay Fowler. And you just be like, okay, we're just going to win this year just because we're the Cowboys.
Yeah, and I think that's not even the most perplexing thing. The most perplexing thing is, again, you have two dudes that I think bona fide all the way around the league. Everybody can agree. Those are studs. Regardless of if you are trying to go all in and you're failing at it. If you are trying to silent retool and you're not, just not being vocal about it. The things that you should definitely want, you want Micah Parsons and CeeDee Lamb on extended contracts. You get that done as soon as possible. And that seems, I don't know why you're waiting, because the idea is, okay, they're going to be on this team regardless. They're, the fifth year options are still there. Like you're not,
why are you
not
toying
losing
with it though?
And this is the thing that the Cowboys seem to constantly fall in, is getting to these deals too late.
Yeah.
Make the deal. At the worst case scenario, maybe you actually are going to go into the tank. And I understand. Are the Cowboys capable of rebuilding out of the tank? Look, again, all of those things are valid things to talk about. But let's say you get to that point next season where you're like, okay, after this year, all right, we're really going into the tank. We want to move this thing along. Having those guys on extended contracts makes them more valuable if you want to move on from them and getting things back. And it feels like just the constant things that you would think an organization would think about to maximize the value of what they have. Feels like they're failing at that again.
What direction are they going?
I don't know.
Let us know, fan text. What are the Cowboys planning that none of us can understand? What is their master plan?